Agents of Change.
Before Elisabeth Kübler-Ross, in the Western culture, the topics of death and dying were completely shrouded in the veil of mystery. Not much was known about mental processes and inner emotional struggles that were happening inside of terminally ill and dying patients, and because of that, they were being left alone to die in the back room of some hospital, not cared for, not recognized, invisible. The medical culture of the post-World War II era was highly authoritarian. The patient's values, preferences, and priorities carried little weight. Doctors informed patients of the decisions they had made, and patients accepted those decisions. That often included neglecting patients' pain, not talking about dying, and not caring about the comfort of those who had months or days to live. Elisabeth Kübler-Ross was the first person to change the way that the world sees the terminally ill. She pioneered hospice care and near-death research, and was the first to bring terminally ill individuals' lives to the public eye. She began conducting interviews with terminally ill patients. The interviews were open-ended, lasting as long or as short as the patient wanted. The patients talked about their pain, their loneliness, their frustrations with their medical care. She set in motion techniques of care directed at making death less dehumanizing and psychologically painful for patients, for the professionals who attend them, and for the loved ones who survive them. This is a short story told by the New York Times that describes what kind of a person Elisabeth was. In 1962, she became a teaching fellow at the University of Colorado School of Medicine. A small woman who spoke with a heavy German accent and was shy, despite extraordinary inner self-confidence, she was highly nervous when asked to fill in for a popular professor and master lecturer. She found the medical students rude, paying her scant attention and talking to one another as she spoke. But the hall became noticeably quieter when she brought out a 16-year-old patient who was dying of leukemia and asked the students to interview her. Now it was they who seemed nervous. When she prodded them, they would ask the patient about her blood counts, chemotherapy, or other clinical matters. Finally, the teenager exploded in anger and began posing her own questions. What was it like not to be able to dream about high school prom or going on a date or growing up? Why, she demanded, won't people tell you the truth? When the lecture ended, many students had been moved to tears. Now you're acting like human beings instead of scientists, Dr. Kübler-Ross said. Her extensive work with the dying led to the internationally best-selling book on death and dying in 1969. By the 1980s, the study of the processes and treatment of dying became a routine part of medical and healthcare education in the United States. Death and dying became an indispensable manual, both for professionals and for family members. Many doctors and counselors have relied on it to learn to cope with the loss of their patients and face their own mortality. In her book, she proposed the now famous 5 stages of grief as a pattern of adjustment: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. In general, individuals experience most of these stages when faced with their imminent death or the death of their loved one. Dr. Kubler's pioneering work in counseling terminally ill patients helped to revolutionize the care of the dying, enabling people all over the world to die more peacefully and with greater dignity. And that is how she helped change the world for the better. This is Hana Radovanović from Pula, Croatia, for the Agents of Change podcast. For the world goes to where we take it.